Just before setting sail, the reality of Tiniteqilaaq reveals itself in its most authentic form. A local hunter's boat has just been pulled ashore. For centuries, seal hunting has been a mainstay of Inuit subsistence. And even today, under the control of strict local laws, it continues to provide food and essential materials for survival in this extreme climate. Beyond a narrow corridor of water, navigation changes face. The surface of the fjord is a trap of solid ice. We immediately realize the complexity of the route. There's a long stretch of fjord where every meter must be conquered, deciding whether to bypass the obstacle or attempt to break it. It will take time and caution before reaching navigable waters. Navigating this white labyrinth is already an extraordinary experience. But when you find yourself in the presence of the great icebergs, words become superfluous. Here, sea and ice merge into a single, immense architectural masterpiece, an unforgettable panorama, a spectacle that will forever remain etched in your memory. An imperceptible change in the atmosphere catches our attention. The air changes suddenly, and the signs from the sky are quick to confirm it. These few signs on the horizon are enough for the musher to decide that the fjord adventure ends here. It's time to turn back. The way back turns out to be harder than expected. The fjord seems to close in around us, and each barrier of ice requires a greater effort to overcome. What was a relatively accessible passage on the way, there is now an obstacle to be conquered. From the boat, at water level, the gaze falls on the details. From this privileged perspective, one can perceive the constant movement of the ice flow. Sheets of ice sliding lazily across the surface of the sea or overlapping one another in a slow, silent push. The boat is no longer moving. Attempts to free it begin, reversing the engines, pushing manually, searching for a crack in the adjacent ice. But the surface doesn't yield. For now, every effort is in vain. Breaking out of the trap requires the use of every means, including a harpoon for leverage. But the turning point comes thanks to Arctic solidarity. The boat of a friend of the musher comes to our aid. At this point, the boy accompanying us leaves the boat. He moves across the ice floe with extreme caution, using the harpoon to test the consistency of the ice at every step. With precise leaps from one slab to another and the rope in his hand, he reaches the other vessel. In an unusual and spectacular maneuver, our boat is towed directly over the pack ice, sliding across the ice to the first navigable waterway. Having reeled in the rope, we attempt to get back on course. The respite, however, is short-lived because the escape route is far from clear. Together with the vessel that rescued us, we have to face a continuous sequence of obstacles, trapped between the last, heavy sheets of compact ice that still stand between us and the narrow, open channel. Before returning, I stop to observe the calm stretch of canal that almost seems to hide the difficulties we've just overcome. We leave the Odyssey on the ice behind us and return to our refuge in the village.